The Empire of Man was a place torn. It had been in a civil war for years. There was no emperor sitting on the throne and various powers were vying for control. In the imperial year 1999, a great comet was sighted in the sky, a twin-tailed comet, the sign of Sigmar. Astronomers predicted that it would fall in the city of Mordheim, where his convent of sisters stood. It was believed that it would herald the return of Sigmar, which he would restore the land to its former glory and usher in a new golden age. Everybody traveled to Mordheim, filling the city well beyond its capacity. Such were the times that lawlessness soon grew out of hand. The citizens of Mordheim quickly degenerated to moral debauchery, giving themselves over to their own worldly temptations, living in an increasing state of anarchy. As time drew closer to the comet's arrival, more and more people made the journey to Mordheim, and the situation became unbearably worse. As people gave in to acts of depravity, demons walked the streets like men, the seeds of chaos and corruption long since having claimed the souls of the pitiful thousands who now called Mordheim their own. The comet fell on the first day of the new era, but it was not to be the coming of Sigmar as predicted. It smashed into the city, instantly killing those who had gathered around it. Word got out that Sigmar had passed his judgment, that he had smote those who he deemed unworthy. The place of Mordheim became a place of fear and paranoia. Soon after, word spread out of a mysterious stone that lay scattered about the city, known as Wordstone, which had all manner of reputed qualities. It was discovered that factions would pay incredible amounts for this precious stone, whatever their motivation. So warbands began traveling to Mordheim, now dubbed the City of the Damned, hoping to find this precious stone and make their quick fortunes. Welcome, dear viewer, to Mordheim, the City of the Damned. The Skaven of Clan Eshin are accomplished masters of stealth and murder. Long ago they learned the art of assassination in distant lands. Now they are among the most feared of the great clans of the Under Empire. These silent killers serve as the eyes and ears of Skavendom, infiltrating the realms of other races and spying upon them from the shadows. Striking from ambush, utterly without mercy and honor, endowed with a ferocious speed and viciousness far in excess of any human, the Skaven are hideous foes. The chance to increase their own prestige inside the clan makes the warbands infesting Mordheim even more ruthless and dangerous. Welcome to the first episode of Mordheim, City of the Damned, where I will share the progress of my Clan Eshin Warband. A quick disclaimer, if you're interested in the rules for Mordheim, you can find them at broheim.com. I'll put a link in the video description. Today I'll start with the leader of my warband, the stealthy and notorious Assassin Adept. I'm using this Skaven Deathmaster miniature from Age of Sigmar to represent my Assassin Adept. Mordheim was originally played with square bases, but I'll make my warband with round bases, as that is what I prefer. The focus of this video will be on the assassin's base, as I will follow the guide created by Duncan Rhodes for the actual miniature itself, and I wouldn't like to be blamed for plagiarism. All I can do is recommend that you follow Duncan's Painting Academy on his website. There's also a link for that in the description. The miniature is equipped with weeping blades and flowing stars, so that is probably exactly how I'm going to equip the model in future games of Mordheim. As I've said, the focus on this video will be on the base. Let's begin. I received this model for Christmas by my 3-year-old. Well, of course I bought it, but that's a good way to get what you want. So, I went on a bit of a shopping spree for this video. I got me some battlefield rocks from the army painter, and some green stuff. And from Citadel I bought some Mordian corpse grass. And from Greenstock World I got this textured rolling pin. And some sculpture Vaseline to go along with it. And from AK Interactive I bought some water gel swamp green. And some moss texture. I also got me some cork sheet in various sizes, in 6mm and 3mm. That's all I'm going to need, I think. I have removed mold lines and assembled the assassin. I haven't glued onto his base yet because we're going to do several things to it before that. To start with, I'm going to take my 6mm cork sheet and cut out a circle. After that, I'm going to cut it almost in half in an uneven pattern. Following that, I'm going to glue it to the base. I'm using super glue. Following that, I'll add a layer of 3mm cork sheet. Next up, I took some green stuff which I'm going to add to the base. I did a test base beforehand with my rolling pin. So I got a little green stuff here which I'm going to smother out over the top layer. Next, I'll add some Vaseline to the base. I did my best to remove my fingerprints. Like so. And then I'll take my textured rolling pin and add some texture. Like so. I have glued the model to the base as well and tried to add an underwater bar from this gate. The next thing I'll do is I'll undercoat the model and I'll use Sentry Dust. Well, the undercoat is almost dry. I must admit this model might be a little unwieldy for Mordheim, given its height. But I'm more of a, if it looks cool, go get it kind of guy. When the undercoat is dry, I'll base coat the ground and the cobblestones with Stormwoman fur. I've given the Stormwoman fur plenty of time to dry. Next, I'll add a shade of null oil all over. About 20 minutes has passed and now we have some really nice definition on those cobblestones. Next, I'll finish it off with a dry brush of Longbeard Grey. Just all over. The cobblestones are complete, but I would like to add a little variation. So I'll pick out 2 or 3 stones and paint it over with Wraithbone. The Wraithbone is dry and I decided to go with 3 cobblestones. Next, I'll add a layer of Gryph-hound Orange. When the contrast paint is dry, I'll add a highlight of Fire Dragon Bright. And with that highlight, the cobblestones are complete. The next thing I want to paint is this levitating dirt. And I want to use contrast paint yet again, so I'm starting with a base paint of Wraithbone. You might need several coats for this to cover perfectly. But as always, 2 thin coats are better than 1 thick one. Or even 4 thin coats. The wraith bone is now dry. Just a quick note, I also painted the underside of this dirt. Now I can add a contrast paint, and the one I'm going for is Dark Angel's Green. It might look a bit strange right now, but it will all make sense, I promise. The contrast paint is dry, and now we have a really nice dark green color. Next I'm going to add a highlight in the form of a dry brush with Stragon Green. Just do be careful not to hit the cobblestones with this. And with that dry brush, the moss is complete, for now at least. Next I'm going to take a small rock from my battlefield rocks from the army painter and glue it onto the base. I'm using super glue. The rock has been glued on and I'm ready to move on. Now I'm going to add a technical paint, Armageddon Dust, all over the bottom of this base. Don't use your finest brush for this. When the texture paint is dry, I'll add a shade of Cassandra yellow all over it. I gave the Cassandra yellow plenty of time to dry, so now I can add a highlight by dry brushing some Tyrant's Skull. Next I'm going to add a tuft from the Mordian Corpse Grass from Citadel. I've applied the tuft, and well, I actually applied 2 tufts, and I couldn't help myself, I applied a skull as well, and I'm going to paint that now, starting with a base coat of Sandry Dust. Next I'll add a shade of Seraphim Sepia. And lastly I'll give the skull a dry brush of Terminator's Stone. Now I've reached the point where I would like to paint the rest of the miniature. As I said in the beginning of this video, I will follow the guide of Duncan Rhodes. So I'll do that and be right back. It took me about 5 or 6 hours, but here is the completed Assassin Adept. It was a lot of fun painting this miniature. It is very dynamic and have loads of character to it. I highly recommend following Duncan Rhodes if you want to mimic this paint job. I painted the stone arc the same way as the stone and pavement, so it fits in with the rest of the base. Speaking of the base, we only need to add swamp water and moss to it right now. I'll start with the water effect. This will probably take several layers and plenty of time, since the container recommends a drying period of 24 hours. So let's not waste any more time and let's get started. I will dilute the swamp water with, well, actual water on my palette to give me more control. I hope this works. I'll just apply it, well, everywhere. I'll be right back. I finished adding the first layer of water gel swamp green. I'll give it 24 hours to dry as recommended. I'll place it a place where it won't gather so much dust. "24 hours has passed and the swamp water has dried. It does shrink quite a bit while it dries, so this will probably need several coats before it's completed. It is not as transparent as I hoped for, so I think I have to thin any future coat with even more water. I'll try my luck and get back to you once I have a hopefully satisfying result." Okay, so I've lost count on how many layers I've made. I would not call this transparent at all. However, you can see some of the skull on the base, and that is the most important feature of this project if you ask me. I'll stop adding layers for now and instead add some moss texture. I made a small mistake when I glued this Assassin Adept to the base. The dirt part of the base is protruding from the base a little. I think I can cover this up with some moss. I'll take some PVA glue and add it to my palette. Then I'll thin it down with some water. Next I'll apply it to the base, and finally, using a pincer, I'll add some moss texture to the base. I'll be right back once I've finished doing that. The moss has been applied and the glue is about to dry. In the meantime, I'll grab my mold line remover and remove the swamp water which have gone to the trim of the base here. And next, I'll paint the edge of the base black, and I'm calling this done. Of course, you could also add a varnish if you plan to play with this miniature. This Assassin Adept is ready to jump from rooftop to rooftop, stitch some throats and stab some backs. I hope you enjoyed following along on this project. If you want to see future Mordheim videos, then please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell if you want to get notified of my uploads. Thank you for watching, and happy painting!